Today we're going to talk about rounding. But first, the secret code you've all been waiting for. Thank you so much for watching the videos so you know what to do. If you come up and whisper pepperoni pizza to Mrs. Capilotto, you will receive 10 Capilotto dollars. Stay tuned because in another video there might be another code worth another 10 for a total of 20. So for this video, I'm going to give you the option to go ahead and try this on your own if you want. If you remember how to round to the nearest 100 and the nearest 1,000, you're welcome to do that. Just pay attention to which column you're in. So for each number, you're going to round it first to the nearest 100, then to the nearest 1,000. If you remember how to do that, you're welcome to go now. If you want a little review, stay with me for just a minute and we'll do the first couple problems together. You can pause me at any time if you want to try this on your own and then play again to check your answer. Here we go. The first one is done for you. The number is 124. So if we're rounding to the nearest 100, I would find the digit in the hundreds place, which in this case is the 100. Then I would look to my neighbor. This is where I draw that little arrow, right? I look to my neighbor to the right and it's a 2. This is where I sing 5 or more, raise the score, 4 or less, let it rest. So the 2 is going to tell me if the 1 should raise the score or the 1 should rest and stay a 1. The 2 is the bossy one, but the 1 is the one that's either changing or staying. In this case, since the 2 is a 4 or less, let it rest, my 1 gets to stay. So when I round, the first digit is rounded, everything after the spot that I'm rounding from just becomes a 0. So in this case, it's 100. To the nearest 1,000, you may say, hey, wait a second, there is no digit in the thousands place. But that's okay. You would underline the nothing, and you would move your arrow to look at the 1. Now the 1 is going to be the boss. Should the 1 tell the nothing, or the 0, to raise the score and become a 1, or to rest and stay a 0? In this case, it's a 1, so it's a 4 or less, let it rest, so it gets to stay a 0. Everything after it becomes a 0, meaning 124 is closer to 0 than it is to any other 1,000. Pretty fun. Let's go over here and try this one. And then if you feel like you got the hang of it, you can take it from here. 749. Round into the nearest 100. We would underline the hundreds place, which is our 7. And we look at our neighbor to tell us what to do. The 4 is going to be the boss. Is it a 4 or less, let it rest? Or is it a 5 or more, raise the score? It's a 4 or less, let it rest. So our 7 gets to rest. It gets to stay a 7. Everything after it becomes a 0. So in this case, it's 700. Now 749 is right on that line. If it were 750, it would round up to 800, but it's not. It's the last one that gets to round down to 700. Now, if we're talking about the nearest 1,000, again, we're going to underline the nothing and look to the neighbor. Now the 7 is the boss. Is it a 4 or less, let it rest, or a 5 or more, raise the score? 5 or more, raise the score. So our nothing, or a 0, gets to bump up 1 and become a 1. Everything after it becomes a 0. So in this case, 749 is actually closer to 1,000 than it is to 0. That's what you're going to do for each of these numbers. If you need help, you know what to do. Don't forget to come tell me the secret password.